Hey friends, thank you for joining me. We are continuing our series on listening in to new beginnings. You know, it's a beautiful time of year. It's springtime. I just saw two little red birds chasing after each other. Squirrels are tossing up the leaves in playful sincerity. And I am just so happy to be with you. And you know, when we are in different relationships in our lives, it could be, I don't know, it could be a marriage, a relationship, I don't know. But it's so important to listen. Uh, Listening is foundational to intimacy. Um, you can't have intimacy unless you first have listening. And I thought, what is the one takeaway that I want to leave today in our listening series? And it may sound kind of odd at first, but it's that disagreement is a good thing. Disagreement in relationships is actually desirable. Let me read a little bit from Sacred Spaces, available on Amazon. It's actually one of my favorite books that I've written. So I'm on page 10. Okay, sorry, it's bright outside. I probably should have had some sunglasses. I'm adjusting. Okay, so I'm talking about listening and in my marriage, how initially I was annoyed because, and I'll just not read word for word, but I'll tell you. Initially, I was annoyed because my husband, when I talked to him, he has this kind of stoic, Mount Rushmore chiseled look, and I want to read his emotions. I'm a very emotional, like, you can see the emotion on my eyes, on my face, on my smile from moment to moment. And it was just getting me because I could not see my husband's emotions from moment to moment. Okay, so how I described it was, it is like a stone chiseled face from Mount Rushmore, stoic yet non-judgmental. He stares at me with twinkling brown eyes. So initially, I confess this annoyed me because I wanted an empathetic, mirrored expression, right? At the very least, some eyebrow animation. I grew up with two sisters, no brothers. Adam grew up with the direct inverse, two brothers, no sisters. I am accustomed to the over-the-top cheerleading affirmation and rigorous reassurance. Okay, here's where I'm talking about today, though. Past all the irritation, I realized a deeper truth. I wanted him to agree with me whenever we're talking, right? We're having a conversation. It could be about anything. For the longest time in our marriage, I wanted him to see things exactly the way that I saw it. His stoic expression caused me to realize my own insecurities. When I did not receive the eager nod or smile I searched for, I was able to understand my own self-doubt, the misery of my own misgivings. Ironically, I ultimately realized this was the type of listening I needed. It allowed my words to reverberate back to my own heart and helped me to realize where I was confident and where I was not. Okay, so disagreement. It's a very desirable thing. Yeah? So in relationships, you're going to have it. But if you don't, it gives way to people pleasing and to everything looks good on the surface. But if you don't have that place of disagreement, you're not going to have deeper roots of intimacy. So in that place of disagreement, we understand boundaries. We understand where one person begins and the other ends. And it can be a place of panic or it can be a place of purity. For the longest time, I perceived that place of disagreement as rejection and frustration. But if you really want deeper intimacy, you have to allow the disagreement to take place. Now, I'll preface this with you don't want it to be in a place of strife or anger, but if it's spirit-led and it's a place of true conversation, then disagreement is desirable. Think about it. We are created in God's image, and throughout His Word, He loves His people, but He disagrees with His people all the time. You will hear the Lord say, "Your ways are not my ways. Your thoughts are not my thoughts." And there's this delineation that takes place where we understand where one person ends and the other begins. So for the two to become one, you first have to realize that they are two. Yes. And it's such a hard thing. You know, personally, I struggled with this for years and still do, because you perceive it, a disagreement at first, as a lack of love. But in fact, it's not. It's an opportunity for greater intimacy. And really, when you listen to someone from the heart and you just pause in that sacred space of listening, it can be a place of growth. And it's a place where the rough patches and rough places in your relationship suddenly become smooth. And it's a place where you grow together. And it's a lifelong journey. Just as sanctification in the Christian walk is a lifelong journey, so is intimacy and navigating intimacy with your spouse. So whether it's relationship, whether it's, I don't know, marriage, the principle's the same. Disagreement can be desirable. Now, this is not in a place of nitpicking, in a place of strife. You really have to discern the spirit behind it. If it's in a place of strife, I would say hands off until you can talk, right? So yeah, when you're listening, remember, disagreement can be a good thing. So you are a bright spot in my life, and I hope you have the best day.